Pokemon continuing on an upward rise, but for how long? The Digimon TCG being postponed until February 2021, and possibly a new CCG coming out in November of 2021. All this and more on this week's Talking Points. What's going on, everyone? Trev here with Chaotic Strategies, and welcome to our very first episode of the new series, TCG Talking Points. I'm super excited to do this. You know, there's been a lot of changes going on within the TCG and the CCG market. I mean, just all over the place. Everything is everywhere right now. Everything is doing fairly well for the most part right now. So I'm going to make it my job every week to do the best I can to bring you guys all the updated information that I can about all these changes that are going on from here on out. So the first thing that we are going to talk about, and you can't talk TCG without Pokemon being somewhere in the name right now. I mean, Pokemon is just absolutely insane. You know, Title Max came out with one of the 25 top franchises in the world right now, and Pokemon is at the very top, being grossed at just over $92 billion at the end of 2020. I mean, that's just an incredible amount. Pokemon is it will always be popular. I don't think Pokemon is ever going to go away anytime soon. With that said, the card market is just on this massive rise right now. It is just absolutely insane. And it's a great time to start investing and buying into Pokemon and try to make that flip. But as I've said before in prior videos talking about Pokemon, you know, you go up and up and up and up and up, but at some point you've got to drop back down. It has to. That's just the nature of business. Now, I'm not saying that the entire Pokemon market is just going to crash at some point. I just don't see that happening. It never has, and I don't think it ever will. But we will start seeing a dip here before too long. I'm not going to go ahead and throw out a win because it's crazy right now. It's absolutely insane. Now, towards the end of 2020, coming into 2021, we did see a dip in some of the older Charizard cards, okay? We saw a lot of these cards drop down by over 50%, or at least almost 50%. And so that's going to be kind of like a natural trend that we see going on with Pokemon right now, especially the older sets. I mean, back in November, I don't remember who it was, but I saw that somebody was selling original $19.99 a box of booster packs that sold for over $360,000. I mean, that's insane. Incredible amounts of money. You know, we get in a lot of these Charizards coming out of PSA that are like PSA 9s, PSA 10s, selling for $30,000 for a piece of cardboard. That's insane, but I love it. You guys love it. You know, all of us collectors, investors, buyers, sellers. I mean, that's part of the game, right? So when I'm watching the Pokemon market kind of do its thing, I kind of look at it like I'm looking at the stock market. Okay, again, like I said, we have this massive rise, but at some point it's going to tip and it's going to come back down, as we saw with the Charizard cards. As far as when, who knows? I mean, we have Shining Fates coming out in February of 2021. That's already got a massive market. I've already seen Elite Trainer boxes for Shining Fates being pre-released at about $125 a box right now. So, which we kind of saw that when Champion's Path Elite Trainer box came out. You know, they were selling for about the same price on re-release, and now you can pick up a box for like 50, 60 bucks. You know, that's kind of a normal trend. You know, that price is going to be high because the demand is way up here, and then once that demand is met, the price drops back down because now Pokemon doesn't have to print as many since everybody has pretty much all the pre-release stuff. So that price will gradually drop back down. We also have Battle Styles coming out in March. Same thing. You know, so we're going to see that upward trend of everybody wanting the Battle Styles packs and the Elite Trainer boxes, and then once that demand's met, it's going to come back down. I have a feeling, just for me, I'm probably going to be wrong, and if I am wrong, I'll definitely tell you when it comes that time, but I think about mid-summer, maybe late summer, we're going to start seeing a dip, you know, with these older cards that everybody's trying to sell. We have PSA that is still backlogged with trying to get graded cards out. There's some instances where I've seen people saying that PSA is like a year out. PSA is building more facilities to accommodate for these millions of cards that they're backlogged. They're still hiring people to come in and grade the cards, which is great. That's great for PSA. That means they're making money. As long as you and I are still sending cards in to get graded, they're going to be making money. But again, at some point, it's got to come back down. When that demand is met and all these cards are sold and bought and sold and bought, well, eventually people are going to be appeased because they have everything that they wanted. Well, then the market's going to come down. It's going to dip quite a bit. So we really have to be careful on how much that we're going to be investing into Pokemon right now. It's great if you're trying to make a quick buck, as long as you're not buying massive amounts of Pokemon and then trying to flip it, because who knows, tomorrow something may happen and the price will just drop, right? So Pokemon decides to come out with like a new influx of older cards, kind of like what they did with Evolution. Well, the price is going to dip because now a lot of these cards are getting reprinted. But we could also have, something tragic happen where we have a massive loss of cards. It's like if a natural disaster or something happened and destroyed a lot of those cards, and then obviously the prices are going to skyrocket because there's less cards out there in the field with a very large demand. So these are things to kind of take into account. You got to kind of play it like the stock market. Watch and see what happens. Obviously, not every single Pokemon card is going to be worth something. It all depends on the card. It depends on what set it came out of. It depends on whether it's a holo or reverse holo. The condition of the card itself. Charizard, I think, is always going to be one of those cards that's always going to be at the top of the list. He's a dragon. He breathes fire. There in the original set, he was arguably one of the strongest cards in the set, one of the strongest characters in the set. So Charizard has always been a very sought after card. So with that being said, going into this talking point, if you're looking to get into Pokemon as a flipper, by all means, great. Start small because you never know exactly what's going to happen. For me personally, buy some of these Elite Trainer boxes or these booster packs and hang on to them. I think Champion's Path is probably going to be one of the better ones that's going to increase in value over time as a sealed set, just because of what you can potentially get in there, right? It already comes with that promo Charizard. There's also the shiny V Charizard and the VMAX Charizard that could potentially come in those. So I think later on down the road, give it another year or two, once that box set is no longer in production, the demand's going to start going up for them. That's going to raise the price of that box, and it may take longer than a couple years, but I definitely think that is going to be one of them to hang on to. And the new Shining Fates that's coming out next month, February 2021, is going to be another one that I personally am probably going to set on a couple sealed boxes of those myself just later on down the road, because I think what's expected to come out of those sets, and we're going to start seeing a lot of the new shiny cards, the shiny Pokemon come in that set. It's going to be another one of those staples that years down the road, you could flip that $125 that you pay for pre-order and turn around and flip it for a couple thousand. So just be careful going into and playing this market. Like I said, we saw a minor decrease with some of the Charizard cards and others, but we're seeing a spike in a lot of the other, especially the newer cards that are coming out as well. So if you're going to play it, pay very close attention to it and just make, good judgment calls when you're trying to buy these sets to flip, because at some point the bubble's going to have to pop. It may not crash, but there will be a decline, and if you're not careful, you could lose out on quite a bit of money in your investment. Hey, moving on into our next talking point, the Digimon TCG, right? We had the promo Digimon TCG get released last November. It was a very big hit. I got a few of my promo packs and promo boxes as well. We were expected to have the full American drop release for a lot of the beginner sets and booster packs this month of 2021, but That sadly got delayed until about mid-February. Bandai's saying about mid-February we can expect to see the Digimon TCG on the shelves to start buying a lot of these starter decks and these starter packs. And the reason being is that the COVID pandemic has delayed the production of these cards. That's kind of a given. Kind of saw that coming. Just, if you pay attention to the trajectory of this pandemic and the way it's going, I'm not surprised. It sucks, yes. Super excited about the new variation of the Digimon TCG, but these things happen, especially when you're in the middle of the pandemic. Everything's just kind of up in the air. You really can't predict too much of what's going on. I have seen a steady incline, though, with some of the Digimon booster packs, the boxes that you can get these booster packs in, for the promo sets that came out. I got my version 0.0 booster decks for about $20 a pack. I've got quite a few of those, and I just checked it the other day, and a lot of those version 0.0s of that promotional booster pack are now up to between $30 and $40. So again, just like I said, talking about Pokemon, we start seeing this demand. A lot of these guys, they're wanting those packs, they want to sit on those packs, because I think later on down the road, since a lot of these were purely promo, later on down the road, I don't think these cards are going to get remade. If they do, it's not going to be for a little while yet. So I think hanging on to a lot of these sealed boxes and these sealed boosters, especially the version 0.0, since those were like the ultimate promos before the version 1.0 came out, I think a couple years down the road, those boxes and those boosters are going to be worth quite a bit of money. So if you still have some laying around that you haven't opened, I highly suggest not opening those and just kind of tuck them away in the back of your closet and forget about them for a couple years, because I think you're going to make a really, really good return on that investment later on. I have a feeling, just by searching the internet and seeing what everybody's talking about with the Digimon TCG, I think this is going to be a very, very good thing, especially for Bandai. They've had success in the earlier years of Digimon, when Digimon first released, and it's had quite a few variations of a TCG throughout the years, but none of them could really stick because they couldn't. You can't compete with Pokemon. It's extremely hard to compete with Pokemon. But I think coming out and revamping that TCG, they revamped the show that you can see on TV now. I think there's a really strong chance, and there's a big enough fan base for it now, especially coming into the older generation that grew up with it, that it has a very good chance of succeeding this time around, at least, for a few years. As I've said before, Bandai just doesn't have a very strong track record with TCGs. They try, but eventually they just fizzle out. So I'm hoping that Digimon will actually stand the test of time longer than some of these other TCGs and CCGs that they've come out with, and will hold its own, because looking at the mechanics of the game, I think it's going to be an awesome game to play. All right, and going into our final talking point for this week, we have a potential new collectible card game coming out November of 2021. Well, I guess I shouldn't say it's coming out November 2021. This group is going to try to get everything put onto Kickstarter in November of this year, 2021, to try to get the ball rolling to get this game produced. And this game is actually called World Auto Racing. And if you're a car guy like I am, this could be like the next big thing. There's really not a whole lot of information about it right now, just besides there's a group of guys that love TCG and CCG, and they love cars. So they wanted to combine everything together, so that way you have a list of cars that you have. And I'm assuming that they're going to come out with a list of upgrades for these specific cars that you collect. And then as you play, you can upgrade your car, however, to try to win the game. So if you want to check it out, their website is worldautoracing.com. I will post a link down in the description box. There's not a whole lot on their website, but you can subscribe and they will send you updates to your email as everything progresses. Like I said, they're trying to get everything together through this year so they can get everything together and put it on Kickstarter November 2021. So I'm super excited about this. My buddy Brandon is the one that came across it. You can see his ugly mug right here. He's been on the channel before going over Magic the Gathering. He's kind of my Magic the Gathering go-to guy. He found it, brought it up to me. You know, we're big card guys, so this is something that we're definitely going to jump on board with. So I signed up so that way I can get notifications and newsletters through my email, so that way I can kind of monitor it as it comes along. In November, if it does make it over to Kickstarter, pretty sure we're going to end up backing that game, because it's something that we are really invested into. I mean, we grew up with cars, love working on cars, building cars. I mean, I spent a majority of my early years as a mechanic before I started doing this. So, you know, it's just something that hits close to home that I think would be a lot of fun to play. It kind of gives it a new little twist on playing card games. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I'm super excited. I'm going to try to bring TCG Talking Points to you guys every Thursday so I can keep everybody up with the happenings of the TCG world and everything that's going on. Like, I want to try to give the best information to all you guys so you guys can make the best judgment calls that you can as well. So if you guys like the video, hit that like button, comment, let me know what you guys think. I'm always looking forward to seeing your guys' comments. Like to see what you guys have to say, how we can make our videos better, how I can make the channel better for you guys. I hope you guys are being safe out there. Enjoy the weekend that's coming up, and we'll see you guys next week in TCG Talking Points.